So again, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for attending this Gowanus Blue Schools Design Challenge final event. We're super excited just to hear from students and see their projects and listen to your presentation. I know our jury members are also very excited to see them and comment and make awards to your projects. So just before we get started, for everyone who's entered the room and for our audience who are here, parents and family and friends, please stay on mute. You're welcome to have your cameras on, but we want to make sure that everybody's on mute except for any of the students who are presenting or the jury who are talking. And if you accidentally unmute yourself, we may mute you. You're welcome to provide comments in the chat box for students' projects. We'd love to hear from everybody here. And I know the students would love to hear comments on their projects, but you'll be hearing from jury members who will be commenting after each project. So we have MS 447 and MS 88 are the participating schools this year in the Gowanus Blue Schools Design Challenge. This is our 4th year having this event, and it's the 2nd year that it is a virtual Zoom event. So I just want to thank all of the students and teachers. I know that it has been so hard doing remote learning and remote and blended learning. And I've seen your projects, and it's amazing to me what you've been able to do despite all the constraints that you've had to face with your learning and teaching this year. So thank you all so much for being here and taking part in this event. So just for the audience to inform you about the project, the students have taken on a design challenge to address the issue of combined sewer overflow. And if you're not familiar with this issue, CSO for short, adds over 363 million gallons of additional pollution to the Gowanus Canal every year. This is also a New York City problem. Each year, the city sees 27 billion gallons of CSO in its combined waterways. So this is a major water pollution issue. The students have been looking at green infrastructure, which is one solution for absorbing stormwater and reducing CSO, or reducing the amount of overflow sewage and stormwater that ends up in our waterways most time that it rains. So students have looked at different kinds of green infrastructure opportunities for their own school campus, and they have also combined those green infrastructure techniques with ways to enhance their school campus for the students and the community. So they might be looking at outdoor learning spaces or recreational spaces or other ways that they can provide amenities with the school and combine that with green infrastructure. So we are going to hear from 6 different projects or project teams. Some are presenting as individuals, some are presenting as groups. So you'll hear one project at a time, and our jury will comment after the students have finished presenting. They'll present for 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll just kind of keep moving through those 6 projects. Then we'll take a break while the jury goes into a breakout room to decide on awards, and come back in and we'll present awards to the students. So that is how the event will roll. We suspect that with the timing, we should end the event at 6 o'clock. So we can all have dinner and enjoy our evenings from there. So if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Or if students or jury members have any questions at this point, let us know. But I hope that you all enjoy the presentations. And I'm going to turn it now over. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot one thing. In addition to the designs this year, some of the students also got to do schoolyard greening projects. So this is something that we had planned for the program in years past, but were unable to do last year because we went everything was all social distancing and all remote learning. But this year, students were able to revive some of the planters in their school courtyard or entrance area. So here you see some photos of students at MS 447 that were planting and some planters in the school entrance. So this is a really important space for students to work on. It's a place where all students enter and exit the building, and they really want it to be a more welcoming place. So with the help of Fred Wolf, who's also our moderator here, at Nature Based, the students refreshed the soil in the planters and added all native plant species. And here at MS 88, there was really a special planter project. We were really excited that the students could repurpose these wooden sailboats that 2 years ago, the students had built in an after-school program with Brooklyn Boatworks. And they still had the sailboats on hand, but aren't able to sail them anymore. So they were able to reuse them as planters. So that meant we got a huge pile of soil delivered to the school, and students really put some muscle into moving all that soil into these planters. And this took all day. The boats turned out amazing. The concept is the New York Harbor Garden, and it's a reminder of how what we do on land and the green space that we create also impacts and can reduce CSO in our waterways. So you can see how they turned out. The students all did an amazing job. It was great that they had an opportunity to get outside and get their hands dirty after over a year of not being able to use the outdoor spaces at schools. So we're really excited to incorporate this into the project this year. And thanks to our funders, we have additional funding for this project next year. And we look forward to continuing to build on the schoolyard greening for the students that participate next year. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to our moderators, Ruth Nervig and Fred Wolf. And Ruth, and then Fred, would you introduce yourselves, what you do, and then introduce our jury?
Hi, everyone. I am Ruth. I'm a landscape designer at SiteWorks Landscape Architecture, which is a firm that specializes in the construction drawing side of, so I do more of the drawing and not actually the building of projects, but of a lot of the pretty complicated and big public spaces throughout New York City. So I'm sure that you've walked through a place that I have worked on or my firm has worked on. And I'm really excited to be here and see your work, because I will also then afterwards be putting together some of your projects on the display at the storefront of the Gowanus Canal Conservancy. So you can come and see your work that everyone else can see too come July.
How's it going? I am Fred Wolf of Nature Based. We design and build school gardens, do educational programming, have a small nursery, and I've been helping GCC out for a couple of years now with their Blue Schools initiative and programming, and really come to this with trying to make more green spaces at schools and getting kids involved in actually building out those spaces. And I love the Blue Schools stormwater management that students are learning these about these issues, and then actually designing and understanding their schoolyard, and then culminating with some type of a build project. So really excited to see everybody's work today and get this going.
And we are delighted to have a wonderful jury with us that's going to help think through your projects with you as you go through. So I'm just going to call out their names and they can tell you a little bit about themselves. Aya?
Hi, I'm Aya Maceda. I'm an architect and a professor of architecture and interior design at Parsons. Parsons in the city. I'm also a board member of the Gowanus Canal Conservancy, and a resident of the neighborhood that I live in Cobble Hill. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's work today. So I'd like to get started soon.
Great, thanks. Johari, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am. Hello, everyone. I'm Johari Jenkins Taylor. I work for Con Edison. I manage corporate affairs for Brooklyn. What does that mean? I wear several hats, including emergency management, grant writing and grant management of large and small nonprofits for Brooklyn, the corporate grants. Gowanus Canal Conservancy is one of the grant recipients for Con Edison. So I manage that portfolio and a plethora of environmental nonprofit grants that the company gives out. Happy to be here. I'm very excited to see all of your entries. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that explanation of what you do. I was wondering. That was very helpful. Gina, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Gina Fletcher, and I am a student as well. I am at City College of New York, getting my master's degree in landscape architecture. I will be entering my third year this fall. And I'm really excited to see which amenities y'all prioritized in your designs and how it integrates into green infrastructure. So very much looking forward and happy to be here.
Thank you. Rajita?
Hello, everyone. I'm Rajita Narenrekar. I have a master's in landscape architecture from the City College, and I'm currently a designer at Future Green Studio. It's a design build landscape architecture firm based in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And I've generally been following GCC's work since a while, super supportive of it. And the design challenge, I think, is something very innovative, and I'm super excited to see all your work.
And I think that leaves Andrew.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Joseph. I am a designer at Hart Howerton. It's a multidisciplinary firm that does a lot of work in resorts and private residences, as well as communities across the world. And I'm really excited to see what interesting ideas you guys have and what social impact your projects are going to have on like a neighborhood.
Super. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And now I think we are about to get started with the presentations. The first school that is going to start is MS 447. The teachers Cheryl and Michael are going to introduce their school. I just want to say that we completely revamped the outdoor planters of their schoolyard this year. 2 classes, maybe 3 classes, I think 3 classes ultimately participated, planted all native plants. The kids were out there getting completely filthy with soil and planting and mulching and watering. It was a great time, and it was amazing. So I think that we can pass this over to, I don't know if Cheryl or Michael, whoever is going to introduce their school, and get started with the first presentations.
I think Cheryl was going to start, is she?
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Cheryl Grau, and I work with Michael Ensminger and with our 7th graders at MS 447 to unroll the Gowanus Blue program. This is our 4th year, and it's been just a great addition to our project-based learning model. Because it really is it's really a true PBL model where you have a real life problem and you use the design process to answer that problem, right? And it's really just a fantastic addition to our our great curriculum here at Exploration Department. So we're really proud of our work here, and we're really happy to have 3 outstanding projects with us today. There are 170 students in the 7th grade here, and every 7th grade student did a project. So we saw just such a broad range of ideas. I wanted to share my screen for one quick second and just show you this courtyard. This is the courtyard that our project, that our students were asked to revision. And one of the problems that we have with our courtyard, and I'm saying this because I know a lot of you are connected to different kinds of grants and so forth. So maybe you keep us in mind when you hear the right one for us, because our courtyard is surrounded by building. And because there's no access for the public, it makes us ineligible for a lot of the grants that are, you know, set aside for people to use, like after school hours. It's open to the public. So basically, it's just completely surrounded by building. And these little benches here are the only benches in there for students to sit in. So there's only, I think, 2 of them, 2 of these little reused from a locker room benches. So they do have kickball and a few other games. We have a few planters out here, but mostly it's pretty barren. So that's our courtyard. It's about 10,000 square feet, right? About a quarter of an acre when we did the math. So I just wanted to get a chance to see it. And the students were really enthusiastic about doing something different with this space. So I'll stop sharing for a moment. So that's MS 447 Courtyard. We also spent some time revisioning the entrance to the school and gave students the opportunity to do the entrance of the courtyard. And we had 100% of our students wanting to do the courtyard, which was fantastic. I know you only want us to speak for a minute or 2, so I believe I'm done, and unless there are any other questions about our site, and I'm happy to introduce Jing Shu, Lila, and Milo. And to tell you the truth, we didn't talk about which order to go first. So do one of the 3 of you first. Mr. Ensminger, I wanted to invite you to fill in the blank of anything that I left out that you think is important.
I'll be really, really fast.
Okay.
Before they present, just to point out that all of the 3 students presenting were fully remote this year. So it's super, super impressive. We only saw them via Zoom. And secondly, that what you're not going to see is the imagining and the community outreach and the researching that went into these projects. You're only seeing the final projects. So all the back stuff, there was a lot. It's a great unit, and we love working with the Gowanus Conservancy, and we love our meetings with MS88. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of ideas, and it's really fun. So here we go. Christine is writing messages for students, and we're going to take our first, maybe volunteer. Maybe we should let Milo go first before he falls over because he is so sick.
I'm fine. I can do it. Come on.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Milo. I can kick things off. That's all good. Okay, so I can share my screen for this. Is that good? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we go. So I think we should start with the Padlet where we put everything. So this is I can have the site plan up while I talk, just so you guys can see it. I call my design like this. I call a place for everyone because I tried to include spaces for everyone to be in their space, because you can't have one thing. Not everyone likes one thing. So as you can see, the main is a very big permeable turf, and there are some various different gardens and seating, and picnic tables, which can be used for teaching or for lunch or for all those things. So, and the majority of the flooring is that flooring mostly used in playgrounds, but permeable. So rainwater will be caught very efficiently, as well as with the rain garden and the grass covered tier seating, the permeable turf, and the fruit and flower garden. So here is my project description, which is just a lot of words. So if you would like, I can read this out aloud. So my project for the courtyard is the MS447 school shed, which is in the Gowanus watershed. Most of our courtyard, as you saw, is hard concrete, except for the few measly planter boxes on one side of the yard. To put it simply, about 93% or so of the play space is concrete. Great. That means I have a lot to work with. Okay, on to my plan now. My theme is, like I said, a place for everyone, and I think that will become apparent. You'll have a wide open permeable turf that can be used to run around, play soccer, and the field is looped by a circular running track, also permeable, and a little gutter that will catch water when it rains and lead it to a rain bucket, which then can be cleaned and turned into water for the drinking fountain. There will also be a basketball hoop and a half court for those who play basketball, because some people play basketball, some people play soccer, some people run. There will be some trees, but mainly by the wall, and some of the walls will be green walls with vines, and there will be some murals around. There will also be two little picnic tables that can be used for eating lunch. They can be used for teaching classes. They can just be used to sit down and hang out. But the interesting things about these picnic tables that make them different is that they have an overhang that protects them from the rain. But the overhang is covered in green and grass and plants and flowers, and it's a V shape like this. So the water will then run into a rain bucket, which, like I said, will then be used for both irrigating the gardens and for filtered and used for the water fountain. Um, some of permeable turf or grass will cover some tiered seating that is overlooking the stage and on the other side overlooking the turf. And it can, both the picnic table and the performance space with tiered seating can act as outdoor classrooms. And there can be a growth monitoring station for the rain garden, which is over in the alleyway, because that's where most of the water comes in. There can be a growth monitoring station, or as well as monitoring various things that trees will bring, growth, insects, animals, and soil, can monitor soil health. You'll have community space with the turf, as well as the tiered seating, and the picnic table. All those things can be used just to relax and talk and hang. There's another garden with a path through it, which has a fruit and flower garden, which the students can plant as part of their curriculum. And it can be taken care of by the curriculum. Like I said, there will be murals and walls that can be painted, again, by either the After School of LEAP or just by the students themselves. And the irrigation system goes hand in hand with the rain bucket for both the runnel, which is the gutter, and the rain bucket for the V-shaped roof of the picnic table. You can connect a hose to the rain bucket and create an irrigation system for the gardens. And as I said before, you'll rig up a filter and create fresh water for the drinking fountain. And the water that goes back into the drinking fountain can then be used for irrigation. We're trying to conserve as much water here as possible. There will also be trash, recycling, compost bins to the edge of the yard near the picnic tables. Oh, okay, what a mouthful. That was a lot. Anyway, now I've described my project in great detail. And now I'm going to step back a second and talk about the overall concept of the project, the theme of my design, and a place for everyone. I want this design to encompass things that don't leave anyone out from experiencing it. I want there not to be anyone who doesn't spend time there because they feel there's nothing for them. In conclusion, this is my project, and I hope you like it. So now that I've described it, you can see it with my full Tinkercad model. So this is a model of the entire courtyard. And I, for people who are going to see this later, I put some still photos in my project, which are just down here. But I can take you a tour of the Tinkercad myself since I have access to it. So this is the basic, the gray and the red are the MS447 walls. But let's zoom in a little bit. So here's the tiered seating and the stage. We've got some benches and there's a water fountain. There's the rain garden over here with some trees and a bunch of plants. soil monitoring station. Here is the basketball court. Here is the turf with the little runnel and the running turf, compost, trash, and recycling. And over here is the fruit and flower garden with little walls and a path that goes through it. But something I think I found that I enjoyed was this. So this is the picnic table at the overhang, and it has connected to the ground with the water bucket with just picnic tables. And so this, of course, is the permeable seating. And that, in all, is my project. And I think that's everything. Yes.
Milo, I love it. I am always amazed last year and this year just about how it's like emotional, how much understanding all the students, and especially this one, the first one, like of Tinkercad. It is just your grasp of Tinkercad is out of this world. I absolutely love it. The 3D model, the placement of everything, all the different features. I think it's amazing. It's really, really great work. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to call on to start with one of the juries, and they're gonna chat with you and talk to you. So if juries, if you can just be ready for this project, we're gonna go with Gina, if you can start and comment on Milo's project.
Milo, thank you so much for sharing your project. It was amazing how much you've incorporated in your consideration for the site. I really did enjoy the versatility that you've incorporated too, and truly loved the V overhang. So my first question is, did you see any precedents? Did you see any designs that drew you to this idea, or did it just come to you?
Actually, yes. It was combining two different. Sorry. It was combining two different things I saw. I remember seeing this V-shaped overhang, but no grass on top of it. And I remember thinking, oh, that's pretty cool, but how can I make this better? And then I remember seeing this video. I think it was done by the Gowanus Conservatory. Oh, sorry, Canal. And it had someone talking about a gazebo with grass on top of it. So I was thinking, well, if we're gonna try absorb as much water as possible, why don't you combine those two things to make a V-shaped overhang with grass? So yeah.
Brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and just visually, it just made me think of, say, if you were sitting underneath the picnic table while it was raining, and to hear that sound of a waterfall effect too, can be this like very soothing sound that you've created with this design as well. Another thing that stuck out to me was considering the water fountain and how you're using the cycling of water too. So not only are you doing this catchment, but you're filtering it so it can also be used for irrigation. So there are just several different points where it was really considered how much you can get out of this water and keep it on site to be repurposed and reused. So I was just wondering, was there any specific green infrastructure tool that you gravitated the most towards, or you wanted to keep on applying?
I think it was the idea that a lot of different surfaces can be used to be, can be turned permeable.
Yeah.
And I think that really opened up my mind. Sorry. I think that really opened up my mind to all the different options that this can be used for. We can have a permeable turf. We can have permeable seating. We can have permeable just floors. And I think that just using that, I think that just there's so many. It's so versatile, permeable. The making of a surface permeable, that I think it really is something that you can use, so you can have this theme or just this like beauty with using all these different surfaces at the same time. I'm all having the same effect.
Awesome. Thank
you.
you so much, Gina. And now, Andrew, could you comment on Milo's project?
Sure. And thanks again, Milo. This is incredible. I still kind of can't believe that you guys are jumping into 3D modeling. I remember struggling with that in grad school. But I think the thing that stuck out the most is sort of your goal of inclusivity, and then pairing that with like packing in just as much program as possible for so many different people in this one area. Can you tell me a little bit more of why you gravitated towards the idea of just like getting something for everyone all into one space and not necessarily like paring down to only a few things or maybe things that you think are more popular?
Sorry, one second. So I think the reason I chose that is because no one wants to be that kid that you play, say, basketball, and there's just a soccer, and you see all those kids running, and no one wants to be the person who just doesn't go there. I want everyone to experience it. Like I said, I want everyone to experience this, and I don't want no one to be left out, because no one likes. And then there's gonna be people are down there, and you're gonna think, if you focus on main things, you're gonna think, well, I don't really want to be down there. And that's what I want no one to be thinking. That's not a nice feeling.
Oh, that's great. No, and like as a designer, it's always important to begin to imagine who you're designing for. That's always the most important thing. And you definitely did that. And I also love the fact that you also brought in a bunch of series of educational ideas into it, where you have the fruit garden, you have the monitoring station, even in understanding like how do you filter the water, how do you catch the water, and all of these things. It's so great to just have that and just sort of integrate both the learning aspect and the fun aspect, which is really amazing. Trying to think what else. Now, as sort of a landscape architect and a bit of a land designer, we always dig into plants. Did you think at all of what sort of different plants you may use to filter, or plants for the different learning gardens, anything like that?
Sort of. We at one point we did talking about native species, and so there's that about the beauty. But I mean, I didn't dive too deep into that because Tinkercad did not have access to that many types of plants.
Sure.
So if you actually look closer, there are only 4 different types of plants I was using. But I can tell you some things where, like over here, it's mainly I can consist of what like kind of plant. So over here, it's going to be a lot of growing things like food, and maybe edible flowers, but mainly also this is used less for catching stormwater and more for the learning aspect.
Okay.
While over here, people didn't really spend much time in the alleyway anyway, so I thought we could put something where the beauty doesn't matter as much. We could choose mainly just plants that absorb the most water. While over here, we're looking for the more beautiful plants that are appealing to the eye and to the stomach if you're looking for food. So
Great. Yeah, I love that. And then I guess one final thing, did you take into consideration the amount of stormwater that you may be capturing through your various permeable surfaces and all your cisterns and everything like that? Did you guys go into these calculations?
I could do some research and find out how much water this part of the city gets each year. Calculate how much each of these things can capture. I'm thinking that the things that can capture the most are all the different permeable, because they're covering the most amount of space. And I think the gardens are also going to catch a lot. I think, like I said, the fruit and flower garden is going to capture some, and the picnic tables are going to capture some, but not as much as the others because they don't have as wide a space area, so they can't catch as much water. Though I do think we might not be able to catch all the stormwater each year, but we'll definitely put a huge dent in what was there before.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a really great job. Blown away.
Super. Milo, thank you again so much. So let's go on to the next one. I don't know if maybe Cheryl Michael, somebody from 447 who is gonna.
Yeah, we didn't discuss order. So I'm I don't know, Jingshu or Lila. Do we have a preference? Okay, Lila, and then Jingshu will finish us up. Okay, Jingshu, does that work? Jingshu, does that work for you? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Lila.
Hi, I'm Lila Windroff, and I go to 447, and I am redesigning the courtyard. So I'm sharing a screen. I also made my design in Tinkercad. So MS447, or the Math and Science Exploratory, is a middle school in the Borum Hill neighborhood of Brooklyn. For this project, I chose to redesign the MS447 courtyard by making a 3D model on a program called Tinkercad. In my site analysis, I saw that our courtyard was very small and didn't have any trees, which is something I definitely wanted to incorporate into my design. I also noticed that there was an alleyway, like over here, that I thought had a lot of potential for green infrastructure. I wanted to add even more green infrastructure to our courtyard because it is better for the environment. Green infrastructure includes things like raised planters, which I have over here, permeable pavement, which is the whole pavement of my design, and trees, which I have a bunch of. Permeable pavement is very important to my design because it helps with CSO, combined sewage overflow. Permeable pavement is a material with lots of holes that collect rainwater and distributes it to the trees. I took advantage of our alleyway over here, which I thought would be perfect for a garden. Plants are important because they help to filter and clean our air. People don't go in our alleyway much, and it's shadier than the rest of our courtyard, which is ideal for certain plants. I wanted our courtyard to have a little something for everyone, as well as lots and lots of green infrastructure. I achieved this by designating places for people to play sports, like this basketball court and soccer field, as well as places for people to sit and relax. I made a turf area over here, as well as a few benches for people to sit on and lots of trees. Another thing I added to our courtyard, which you'll see over here and here, are water fountains, so people can fill their water bottles or just get a quick sip of water because our courtyard currently does not have any. Sports bins, like there and there, are another addition to our courtyard, so basketballs, soccer balls, and any other recreational things can be kept in a space where everyone has easy access to them, and by the end of the day, janitors can lock them up so no one tries to take them. The sports bins are really important to me because there have been countless times when I've been outside with my friends and wanted a ball, but couldn't find one, and even when we looked inside the school, we had no luck. And then these crazy squiggly lines over here are where like a student-made mural would go, and that would be a great way for some of the students to get involved with this project. And adding all these elements would make a big difference in our courtyard and would encourage students to go outside more often and enjoy the space. I believe that transforming our courtyard would encourage students to get involved in taking care of it and help nurture our school community and the environment. And then this is like an overhead view of my project, and I'm just going to show you some views as if you were like standing in the courtyard. So this first one would be as if you were standing in the garden and you can see the mural, some raised planters. This next one would be as if you were standing or sitting on the turf and you can see the soccer field and some benches. And then this last one would be as if you were sitting on one of those benches and you have a lovely view of the garden right there. And thank you so much for looking at my project.
Lila, that was amazing. I love it. I really loved the storage bins. Access to storage is often overlooked. I am really happy that you're thinking about that and not just green infrastructure. That's one thing that stood out to me that was fantastic. I think we're going to go to Jahari to comment first, please.
Hi, Lila. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I thought it was great. I really like at the end where you kind of gave us a purview that we were actually there. So kudos for that. I really like the sports bins. You know, that is very important because you are going to be utilizing the space for sports activities. So I think you incorporating that into your design was very, very strategic and very good. And I also like the what was it I wrote down? Hold on. The murals. How about that? You incorporated a really nice, incorporation of art, which I'm sure your school also has. So art murals are always, 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 really nice to look at, and it beautifies the space. So I really like that incorporation as well.
Thank you.
Mhm. What made you put that in there?
The mural?
Yeah, what made you? What were you thinking when you added the student made mural piece?
Well, I think that this would be like a fun way for the other students in the school to feel like a part of the redesigning of the courtyard. So it wouldn't just be like one person and it's like, oh yeah, you're just gonna have to go along with it. Like they could really feel like they get to take initiative. And I think that'd make people want to go in the courtyard more. Be like, oh look, I helped paint that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The inclusivity, that's great. And then if someone is more into art and not so much the environment, they also feel welcome, right?
Yeah.
Good. Great job. Excellent.
Super. Thank you so much, Ari. And now we are going to go to Rajuta, please. Can you?
Yes, sure. Amazing, amazing project. I loved everything that you've designed. You've really planned the space so well. I feel like each part of the courtyard was well designed. You did not kind of leap over some corner and not think about it. The garden in the alley was a very well thought idea. Um, could you talk a little bit more about how you planned all these different elements? Like, were you thinking of them as individual elements, or you thought about the space, researched how the students are using the space, a little bit more about how you came up with the overall plan?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted spaces for people play sports because I know that at our school a lot of people do, but I also knew that not everyone likes sports, so I also wanted to make sure I included places for people just to relax, eat, talk with their friends, and as far as like the green infrastructure, I know our school has actual raised planters, so it would just kind of be relocating them a bit, maybe adding some more. And then the permeable pavement would be the whole pavement of the courtyard. But I think once I knew like those things I wanted to add, the whole design kind of came together.
Nice. That's amazing. Yeah, one other thing was which struck to me was the mural itself. Like, since the courtyard is covered by buildings on all sides, you're definitely looking over the courtyard from the building. So the mural would be some like a piece, very interesting piece that you could look upon from the top. And each year there could be a program to like get different students and come in together and do something together, like a fun activity together, which I think was a really great thought to like integrate art into green infrastructure and like the overall planning of the space. So great job.
Thank you.
These projects already are incredible, and I'm so impressed by it. Not only are you all articulating very eloquently the designs that you're interested in and why you came to them, but you're also incredible at actually rendering them out and building the design so that we can actually see it, which is really important for designers, and it's really challenging to actually be able to draw the spaces as you envision it, so that you can share that with people who are seeing your work. So kudos to everyone from MS 447. And now we are going to go over to MS 88, where we have a lot of teachers that will be able to introduce the projects. So we have Lynn, Nathaniel, Mai, and Andy. I think, I don't know who wants to talk us through the projects. Great.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Great. My name is Lynn Sean, and I teach 7th grader science, and this is my 4th year participating alongside students in the Gowanus Blue Schools challenge. But I would like to note that I've been partnering with, MSAD has been partnering with the Gowanus Canal Conservancy for the last 8 years. So we kind of used to call this event the Expo, so I keep calling it the Expo, but it's really always a joyful time to come together with other schools and really be able to showcase all of the learning we've done together. So I don't have a lot of time, but I just want to tell a short story of how we got to where we are today. So first of all, the students who are all presenting today happen to all be blended students. And so it's really miraculous what they came up with, given that we only have 3 days a week in person, and we kind of all committed ourselves to doing more of the physical projects because we were a little bit done with computer time. So we all took the more physical approach. So over the course of the school year, students have engaged in a series of projects, and the common thread in these projects is that they really empower students to address the more pressing issues, the most critical issues that are facing their community. But many of our students come from all over District 15 and increasingly diverse regions of District 15 with a diversity plan. And we start the school year with the water chemistry unit. So we look into CSOs from the very beginning of the school year. There's a little screenshot of Punami. And then we move into looking at how what we eat impacts our environment. And so we engage in a debate about how synthetic meat could potentially be or not be a solution for our schools in addressing greenhouse gas emissions. And then we jump into local ecosystems where we explore eutrophication in Prospect Park Lake. And then we move on to a health justice unit. Now I'm saying all of this because the projects that you're going to see today really embody what students have pulled from throughout the entire school year, all of these issues. And with the bottom right, the image here, this is some data that students looked at from the New York City Department of Health, and how, you know, we first look at racial segregation across New York City neighborhoods and really see how different our health is across neighborhoods. And one thing we really talk about is how the design of the environment, how policies really impact our well-being. And so you will hear a lot about how climate change specifically, oh, sorry, I forgot. So we actually looked a lot at local air quality. We looked at these different reports in different neighborhoods and found that, like, in the neighborhoods that we all live in within our own 10 to 12 person pod, that the air quality was really different. And so that was just something that really stood out to a lot of the groups that are presenting today. Last thing, climate change. So you're going to see a theme of climate change really embedded throughout all of the projects you're going to see today, because one thing that was really shocking to all of our students in our final unit of study, which is the Gowanus Blue Schools project, and we kind of merge it with our culminating climate action unit, is that extreme heat is one of the highest risks facing our school community, not to mention that our courtyard actually is extremely vulnerable to flooding. So we look at historic data, present and future projections around rain, and we're seeing more problems as we move ahead. So last thing before I hand it over to students is that, you know, we looked at some Yale climate opinion maps, and we found that only 43% of adults believe that global warming will harm them personally. And so one thing that I really appreciate about this project is that it gives students an opportunity to be the advocates, to be the educators. So I know that, thank you so much for your time. It means so much that real people doing the work, adults doing the work, are making the time for them, because I think the educational component is really important, that students see themselves as educators as well. So thank you, Gowanus Canal Conservancy, because the storefront, I literally had another 30 projects that really wanted to be here, but I could only bring 3. So I am hopeful that the storefront will give students an opportunity to serve as advocates and educators. I'll end with a very important Scientific American study that came out a couple years ago that really showcased how children have a significant impact on older generations about how they feel about climate change. So I hope that that you will learn some things from our students today about climate change and how we can actually work together to fight it. All right, with that said, I would like to welcome Max, Angelina, and Ella is not going to be here with us today. She had a conflict, but Max, Angelina, you there?
Hi.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm Angelina. That's Max. Today we'll be presenting Saving the Planet One Drop at a Time.
the reason we chose this name was because 2 things. One, which was I think the bigger reason, is to prevent CSO or combined sewer overflow. And if we are able to take water when it rains and we are able to use that water in effective ways that keep it from going into the sewers or slow down its trip to the sewers, it can cut back on the amount of sewage that goes into the Gowanus and other waterways in New York.
This is our picture, our idea for our project. Our theme was to, as Max said, reuse as much water as possible and to find ways to bring diversity, how to save electricity, how to be social in areas with COVID and everything. We wanted to make sure that things were able to be spaced out so that students can be able to function and be kids and do things that kids would normally do. The first thing is when you look to your left, you would see the solar panels. That would be saving a lot of energy that our school would not have to necessarily use. And instead of paying a lot more money for electricity, you're paying more for just keeping solar panels. Another thing that we have is in our main area, we have our art space, which celebrates Pride Month, which is this month. And it brings a lot of diversity. That isn't our certain pictures. We just put those as themes at the moment. We also have a greenhouse up there, which we could use it for our vegetable garden, fruit garden, just so that we can have the supplies and tools we need.
Another reason we had the greenhouse was because one thing we wanted were apple trees. And the problem with apple trees is in the winter, you have to cover up their roots. So instead of doing that, we decided to put them in a greenhouse where they would be warmer during the winter. So we probably still need to do a lot of things, but we could also put a lot of other plants that might require warmer conditions because the greenhouse would be warmer during winter. We also have a vegetable garden, which would be outdoors. It would provide fruits and vegetables. And one reason we did this is because it catches a lot of water, which is one of our goals. And we also did it because it would produce food, which could then be used for school lunches, or also it could be given to students who might not always have food at home. They could get food from our greenhouse and our vegetable garden, which would feed them and their families and help the students who need help.
Another reason why we had the vegetable and fruit garden is also that would be a great after school, possibly just for kids to learn about how to keep their school fresh. I don't know, great way to put this. But kids could come up and do a whole bunch of gardening. It teaches them skills. It also gives, as Max said, a great way for us to have fresher lunches. Moving on, we also have another little art area a lot of trees because we want to have a lot more oxygen and collect a lot more water. We also have a flower bed just as like for, it's actually over there, the little flower bed over there. Thank you. It's also just for like picking up extra water, and also it's very nice and it brings a lot more of like greenery, which was another one of our like themes for our outdoor space, was a lot of greenery. Moving on to our outdoor classroom, we have the outdoor classroom, which as you can see, there's like a ramp and a staircase, which will be accessible to kids. That was another thing that we wanted, just because kids in wheelchairs may not be able to move around as simply. At least they can, with our plan, have a lot more accessibility. And we also want to move our elevator that I think you can see by the main entrance to the school. It's that little brick, to move that so that it has an extra floor for the roof. We also have those little mushroom tables just as so that kids can learn. And there's also a lot of green space, so in case if kids don't want to sit down in chairs, they can kind of just move around and be kids. The last thing on our thing is our trees with rain barrels, which are those little like goldish green dots. We wanted to keep those there so that we can have collected water, as we've been saying, because our goal for our plan was to reduce as much water as possible. So yeah, I think that's enough for our.
Another reason we wanted to add trees was for shade. On a hot day, if you're gardening outside all day, or if you're being taught in the outdoor classroom, if it's a hot day, you're probably going to want to have shade, which is something that trees can provide pretty well. Another reason we wanted the outdoor classroom was to improve the mental health of kids. In the essay we have, which isn't here, but we have a quote from a website that says that outdoor activity helps the mental health of kids a lot. And I think that was something that was is very important, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Being able to be outside, and for a lot of kids, having that boost in mental health would be, I think, very beneficial, along with the fact that outside you can see people even in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. And all of these things, I think, just really help the students that go to MS88, or would really help the students that go to MS88.
Now moving on to our billboard, you can see we have, I don't think we can read it, but we have descriptions and vignettes of why we wanted to have the specific things on our roof. For example, why we had the flower beds was we need them if, for example, it's also good for animals, I think, if like for birds or like bees, if they like can't find their way. And flowers, I think, have pollen, which is good for the animals. And it's also good for looks, I would say. And we also have our vegetable garden, which is in vignette, so that you can have a better description or picture of what we want. And yeah, we just have a whole bunch of reasons so that you don't think that we just want it because there's reasons as to why. And then we also have our essay.
The essay is a little hard to read. I might be able to bring it up. I think I can.
I
can read the first paragraph.
I linked it. I think that you covered most of what you want to say, but if you want to quickly, if there's anything that you didn't address from.
Well, I just wanted, I think if I were to share anything, I wanted to share a quote from the essay that I found. Angelina, is there anything else you want to say while I'm bringing this up?
Yeah, I would just like to read a little bit of our introduction for our essay as to why we think that this is important and involving that climate change is a big thing in our life that's impacting us as we speak. So it goes, it's talking about how like in the future, a scene. So like a barren wasteland with dry dead trees, an underwater city with jagged, sharp plastic covering the surface of the ocean above. And it's talking about how if we don't act fast or act now, we won't have a future. Our future is in our hands, the next generation, and the generation as of right now that's taking care of things. And that's the main reason why we set the roof like that. So it's a lot of water being collected so that we don't get flooded, or as flooded as we would have if we didn't put a lot of ways to save like water.
Max, any luck finding that quote?
Yeah, so it's according to the web blog of Ontario Parks, quote, "A simple stay in the outdoors can do wonders for relieving anxiety, stress, and depression. Countless studies have proven that nature has a positive effect on your mental health. What you see, hear, and experience in nature can improve your mood in a moment," end quote. I just think that really just highlights the reasons for so many things in this project. You're outdoor in almost all of the spaces that would be created with this design. And I think all of that would just help students who might be having a hard trouble in COVID-19 pandemic, getting through not being able to see their friends or not being able to go to school all the time. Being outside there in this space, I think would really help people.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We trust and believe that with our project, that we can redesign MS88 for the better of everyone, and not only the students and teachers that work at MS88.
I also just wanted
Thank
to
you.
say we had someone else who worked on the project with us, but we're not able to be here today. So I just wanted to shout them out because they worked very hard on this project too.
Thank you for that, Max. Yes, thank you, Ella, who couldn't be here today.
Thank you so much, Max and Angelina. This was really a very thoughtful project. I'm very jealous. I'm very envious of the education that you guys are getting, because everything that you're thinking about and then showing us and really putting into the space. It's things that back in my day, we didn't really talk about it much in middle school. So I'm impressed that you guys are operating at such a high level of understanding the kind of research that you've put into this project. You're developing all of these different programs, and you're actually fitting them into the space, even though it's a hand-drawn plan, which is a little bit harder to scale sometimes, to like think about the actual scales of things than if you were doing it on the computer, because in the computer you can just scales automatically. But you're actually thinking a lot about what can fit where, how much space that would take up, what those trees in the greenhouse, what those trees are going to need. So not only are you thinking at a very high level about why you're designing this project and for who, but also about how it could actually be built and live. So wonderful job. I'd like to ask Gina to comment on this one.
Max, Angelina, thank you so much for sharing your work. It was definitely powerful. Just to see kind of what Ruth was also touching on. It's the sheer honesty and reality of the conditions of our planet, and taking into considerations how we can move forward in a way through design and through re-envisioning that can bring us further in support of our ecosystems. And not only that, you've taken so much consideration of who the space is for, and in the realm of accessibility, considerations of what different program you need and the space. And I really also enjoyed the perspective that we got on the poster board for for the flower bed and the vegetable gardens. And I'm wondering if the vegetable gardens are raised at a height so it does allow more accessibility, because there are some higher raised vegetable beds for more access for folks that are in wheelchairs as well. And I just want to hear more about those considerations that you took into your design.
Okay, I would like to put into a great example. Shout out to my dad. He actually has cerebral palsy. So when we thought about our group project, I think we all made sure to make it accessible. So that not only us ourselves, kids that are able-bodied and adults that are able-bodied, but also people that aren't, and that they're able to enjoy the same experiences that we are. So just by the vignette, we were planning on raising it a lot more. It was just the way that we angled it and the vignette had it. So if we were to do a 3D, it would be a lot higher, so that everyone could be accessible to it, not just kids that are able-bodied, but kids that aren't, and that teachers also. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Yes, even in this drawing that evoked that idea. That's what I saw, that consideration in that perspective of not giving another option besides on the ground raised beds. So I really appreciated that. And also the tiering of your flower beds as well. I also just hearing the reality of mental health and bringing it to the forefront, and the way that landscape can really have an effect and be so accessible, and especially in the realm of education. And why isn't there more spaces that we can learn outside and engage with in different ways? So I love that you've considered that alternative, and also considered the fact of the spacing within, say, if there was another COVID situation where we had to continue with distancing, how do you make a program that has this versatility to kind of expand into these different forms, along with your fruit trees? So y'all really ran the gamut of considerations. I guess I was also wondering why specifically apple, and if you dabbled in other fruiting trees.
We did actually. We had a whole entire debate about that, but we only could find that apple trees would be our best bet, because they're actually pretty light, and the only reason why we weren't able to put them outside is that they would not be able to survive throughout the winter. So that's why we had mainly the greenhouse, so that we can store the trees in there. And also for our lunches, there's like a good scale that kids also enjoy apples. We did consider having other trees, but it just didn't work the same. And yeah, Max, I think, could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so apple trees, as Angelina said, are light, which is a consideration. In fact, with the other trees, if you go back to the map blueprint that we have, the trees in the tree garden just below the outdoor classroom, we have a tree that we chose, because one thing about trees is you can get really heavy trees. I mean, just going outside in New York, you can see some huge trees, and especially on the roof of a school, that might not work. So when thinking about the trees, while doing this project, I learned about so many things that I wouldn't have before. Like, when you're planting a tree, you actually have to consider, like, how much does it weigh? What temperatures does it thrive in? What kind of care does it need? And going through all that, apple trees were just the tree that worked best.
The research is there, so that's amazing. And yes, I just also learning as well, just really the consideration of weight is critical when considering green roof design. So great job again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Johari, would you be able to comment as well?
Sure. I'm going to underscore what Gina said about the consideration. I really, really like the high regard and the esteem for the mental health and the hold on one second. And just the altruism of your project is to me what stood out the most. It's phenomenal. I also was wondering about the apple trees, but you explained that, so that's fantastic. I just want to congratulate you. I know you worked hard. It shows that you worked very hard on this project, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd actually like to say something if I can join in. I just feel like I was so moved by your presentation. Honestly, I felt like I really felt the gravity of the problem that your generation is inheriting from like wrong decisions that previous generations made. And I have a son who's the same age as you, and I feel like the past generations really owe you guys an apology, but I'm so moved that you guys are very proactive in like solving these issues, and you don't seem so angry. So congratulations. I thought that your project really like considered the experience um, of wellness, and just like I could really, while you were talking, even without a three-dimensional image, I could imagine being in this space and feeling so welcomed and so kind of like positively impacted by all this greenery, lushness, life, watching things grow, even like having solar panels, like no, it's like you are able to make palpable where things come from in terms of energy, sustenance, water, and how that kind of all are connected. And then plus the art, it's like it's I think it's a really great project. So congratulations. And it also shows, like in the field of design, you're always working with teams. And it shows like that what three minds can produce together. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's excellent.
Thank you so much, everyone. I think Lynn, do you have another project on the docket that is going next?
3 total. We have 2 more, but we're going to switch the order. I apologize, Team Yard Slope. I have a student in the Team Fairy Garden who has to be somewhere, so we're going to let Team Fairy Garden go first. So excuse me as I fast forward to their slides. All right, so Lila, Sahana, Lily, and Jasmine, if you're ready to introduce yourselves and your project.
Yeah, so our project is basically a fairy garden. It's gonna have like decorative things that make it seem more like a fairy garden. And in our community, and like there are a lot of problems with like climate change, rising temperatures, and increasing rainfall in our side of the country, and also CSO, which is a really big thing in the Gowanus Canal. And in the project, we have solar panels and a green roof and a vegetable garden and also flowers and just an area for kids to hang out and with benches. And these things can help with all those problems that are going on in, you know, the area. And yeah, Lily, you can go.
Okay, so our project will help decrease CSO in the Gowanus Canal because water that would normally run down off the roof and into the streets and then to the sewers and pipes that would end up in the canal would be soaked up by the plants that we have on our green roof. And yeah, and it can help pollution in the Gowanus Canal. And then it will also provide nice greenery for us by having flowers and trees and vegetable gardens and plants. And it can help also animals survive better and be healthier by having these things around them. And Jasmine.
Okay. Our design fights and adapts climate change and rising temperatures because the things on it, like green roof and plants and trees, can help reduce heat in the air. Also, because of climate change, the precipitation rates are going to increase a lot in New York. Basically, everything in our design is going to be permeable so the rainwater doesn't go into the sewers. This is how we are contributing climate change into our design. We are fighting and adapting to climate change with it. So, Hannah, you can go.
Our design will help improve the culture and health of the MS-88 community because it will have fruits and veggies that people can eat. This can improve the health of people because they will be eating healthy and fresh food. Also, there will be a place of grass with benches for people to hang out on. People could go out there sometimes and relax or play. Also, to help include everybody, we can have workshops to plant and harvest fruits and veggies. This could also improve the mental health of people because they have a space to go outside and take a break from everything else. I believe this can help the culture by making the school a better place.
Yeah, that's basically our.
Thank you so much. So that's Lila, Sahana, Lily, and Jasmine, right? That's wow. And did I miss someone?
It was Jasmine, Lila, Lily, and Sahana. I think you said everyone.
Yeah, I think so. Wow. I can't believe that you guys were able to work on this project this past year when everything has been so hard.
This particular class, I don't see as much. It just happens to be that I don't have any double blocks with them, and I just couldn't believe they got a 3D model going. So I'm so proud of them.
That model was incredible. I'm so stoked on seeing actual model that you built. And these pictures are also like really beautiful. The clarity of the photos actually is pretty hard to capture sometimes. And I don't know how you did it, but it looks really, really great. I'd like to call up Rajuta to comment on this one.
Sure. Congratulations. This is a lovely, lovely model. I'm so sick of the screen myself that doing something hands-on is just amazing. I love how you've like really detailed out some aspects of the model, especially the flower garden. Like I could see roses in it, which are like nicely made. It's really nice how like you put so much thought in how the model's coming together, what's the scale, and like what are the different spaces. I love how you've used like these different aspects of the solar panel, like the garden, the different types of plants that you're planning to use for the flower garden, and then the fruit and vegetable garden. One really nice thing is about like how you activating the space as well. Like you talked about doing workshops and like bringing students to like harvest the fruits and vegetables, which is also really nice. Like there's thought into that. Could you talk a little bit more about how you guys like came up with these different ideas, since like it's a team effort? Like, did everyone like come together into these solutions together? Did you have like discussions, debates? Like, how did you come up with this entire plan together?
Yeah, we originally wanted it to be like more of a fairy garden type, so we thought of things that would make it like look nicer, and so the flowers mostly are going to be like decorative, and so for the whole thing, we basically, I don't know, we all worked together to come up with like different parts of what was going to go on, and yeah, it was just like a group contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, and such a lovely name. Like, I love that all your projects have titles, which really like brings out that great idea that you have in your head and like puts it out in like a couple of words, which I think is really important when you're designing something like this. So that's again a great tool that you guys already have. Also, like just thinking about climate change in general, like the whole overall idea, like you're stepping beyond just green infrastructure and thinking about all the different aspects, which is incredible, which is something that like as Ruth said, we did not like. I personally did not was not exposed to during my school years. So I think that's like it's an amazing effort by the school, and like you guys have done an amazing job in like coming up with these different ideas. um let me see. I think that's it. Like that's an amazing project. Like I loved all the different aspects that you've like touched upon.
Thank you so much, Rajita. Andrew, can you chime in as well, please?
Sure. First off, you guys did an incredible job with this model. I'm a little jealous that you actually were able to make something with your hands, because never get to do that anymore. And I love the materiality of everything, how you have three very distinct spaces that each have their own feel and textures. Can you talk a little bit more about how you sort of decided what you wanted to make this model out of?
Well, something that was kind of important to us is making sure that there's accessibility. And so we have a ramp and stairs over there. And we also made it more for like just not really function and not really for a play space, but more of just to grow stuff and have like an outdoor space for green infrastructure, because we do have a courtyard which is in the middle. There's a hole in the roof that you can see the trees of the courtyard.
Yeah, it's like an H. There it is.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and also I think, I'm not sure who mentioned it, but the idea of really engaging the community and having workshops with not only just the students, but the people in the neighborhood and bringing them in to use a space. I think that's great, sort of being able to use the space, especially in an area that doesn't necessarily have that much outdoor space. Is there a reason why you guys decided to do that, or it's just a moment of inspiration?
Yeah, we kind of just to include and make it an interactive kind of thing where everybody can be a part of what we're trying to do and make the community better and school better.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really enjoyed just like sort of being able to really imagine both like the different tiers to this, where often when you're dealing on green roofs and there are sort of multiple roofs, you don't really understand in a plan sort of how like what's higher, what's lower, sort of how the different layers interplay. Like this is great being able to see that with the model, and even like seeing down into that atrium and seeing how you sort of have all these different experiences that are packed into the building that both work as the architecture, but then also as the landscape in dealing with the different terraces. Yeah, really great job, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to, this model makes me want to build some models now. It's really, it's just a fun model to even just look at despite the design. So great job to your entire group. Thank you so much for presenting to us. And Lynn, you have one more group?
Yes, but I think Aya and Shahan, I don't know if your hand was up from before. Was that from before? I think so. But okay, was that, I don't know if that was from before, sorry. Okay, so thank you so much, Team Fairy Garden. Let's go back. And now we have our final presentation of the evening. Last but not least, Team Yard Slopes. You there? Tiki, Isabella, Elisa, and William?
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are Yard Slopes. I'm Elisa. I'm Tiki. And I think other people can. Two other members of our group, because it was a group project. If they would like to introduce themselves.
I'm Isabella.
I'm William. Okay, so if you can switch to the next slide, please. So our project is about New York City climate change, of course, and our project has challenged like climate issues in many different ways, such as increasing the temperature, precipitation, and combined sewage overflow. Our design proposal, which we call Yard Slopes, we focused on redirecting water with inclined planes. We will take action on these effects of global warming by incorporating many types of permeable infrastructure and greenery. We also use different elevations and infrastructure details to our advantage. This redesign project is so that every student and teachers can feel included, so that the courtyard can be a better space for us and our planet.
Okay, so to start off, in NYC, our gray infrastructure, such as pipes, can handle the amount of sewage the city produces on a day with no precipitation and can make sure all the human waste gets to the treatment plant. However, when it does rain in New York City, our gray infrastructure is not capable of transporting all the rainwater and human waste to the treatment plant at the same time, given that these pipelines were meant to transport/contain a different amount of sewage and stormwater, as they were built a century ago. Therefore, this mixture of human waste, and rainwater, also known as CSO, has no other direction to go except to the outputs of NYC's sewer pipelines, which lead right into the Gowanus Canal and other local waterways. To combat this, we have installed permeable infrastructure such as rain gardens, which are represented by purple, and rain barrels, which are represented by blue, to absorb the stormwater that would cause CSO to enter the Gowanus Canal and other local waterways. Therefore, our installment of permeable and green infrastructure improves the water quality of our local rivers and canals. In addition to decreasing CSO outfall, our green infrastructure design increases biodiversity, as the trees and plants we added to our model provide a home for many living organisms, such as birds, insects, and squirrels. To expand a bit further on NYC's sewer pipelines, as they're not capable of transporting modern day's amount of sewage and rainwater, given that they were built a century ago, we could clearly see that this is not only a problem about a bad pipeline design, but a bad pipeline design for the modern day, but about an increase in precipitation over the decades, which is caused by an increase in the average temperature. Therefore, like most things, we can link this issue back to climate change.
So when it comes to combating the causes of climate change and preventing exacerbating the issues, our design aims to turn the courtyard green. So as you know, the greenhouse effect, which I guess some people might not know, so I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's when the sun releases solar energy into the Earth atmosphere and it gets absorbed by the Earth's surface and then normally released back, radiated as heat back into the atmosphere, into the space. But when there is an increased amount of greenhouse gases like CO2, they absorb and take in that heat and trap it in our atmosphere, heating up our planet. But when all plants undertake photosynthesis, and one of the main reactants needed is CO2. When there are plants, trees, and greenery in our courtyard, lots of CO2 will be absorbed and used to nourish plants instead of heating up our planet. Additionally, our establishment of solar panels on the roof, which is colored in yellow and around on the roof, it will help our school so we don't have to completely rely on coal and natural gas to power our school, but rather light energy. And I also added a solar panel next to the water fountain, which is seen in the courtyard. It's like a pink color. Yeah. Oops, wait, let me open it. Yeah. So as said by Isabella, the increase in precipitation in our city is causing our unequipped courtyard to flood in rainy months. And so in our redesign, by using slopes to our advantage, we've added rain gardens and permeable spaces to prevent this from continuously happening.
In addition to taking action on climate change and adapting to the effects of it, we added benches near the rain garden so people have an area to connect with others and build new friendships. People will be able to share their identity and life with others, making our entire school a strong, intertwined community and represent people of all backgrounds coming together. Also, with the increase in trees and plants, more oxygen will be produced from photosynthesis. Therefore, the long-term health and safety of the school community, especially those who have underlying health issues related to the respiratory system, such as asthma, will be improved. Additionally, as we all know, the coronavirus severely impacted everyone's lives and distanced young students from building relationships with fellow students and teachers. The courtyard would provide a place for the bonding to happen in a safe manner. The redesign of the courtyard is an inclusive and accessible space that is mindful to every student and staff member.
Okay.
In conclusion, with the small space we are working with, our design not only fights climate change, but with the addition of rain gardens, rain barrels, solar panels, water fountains, and benches, it's appropriate for the modern effects of global warming and maintaining a strong school community. So when it comes to considering this design proposal, remember that we can't help the planet if we don't protect ourselves. So having the infrastructure capable of taking action on climate change and infrastructure, and that has adapted to the modern day effects of climate change, this is the number one priority. Thank you for taking the time to hear our vision for the MS88 Courtyard's future.
And we added little arrows to when we filled these boats with dirt and plants a few weeks ago. And these can be used to absorb lots of water that rains, because I noted on this, but our courtyard right now is a very small and confined space that gets lots of rain and has one ventilation that takes in the water. And so we're starting the path to adding green spaces to absorb water.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, all of the mixed media, the different types of media that you use to show us your design is really, really cool. It looks like hopefully it was a lot of fun to work on that project as well, because it looks like a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch it, to see it. So not to mention all the research that you put into it. So exciting. I'd like to ask Aya to comment on this.
Again, a wonderful presentation. So congratulations to you and also your teacher. I feel like if I didn't know anything about CSO, now I know. And also, I feel like your project I think like it's just so thoughtful about like cause and effect. And I love the way you actually like made us go through your design process, because I think that there's some real consideration of scale and placement of certain programs that is very clear in your presentation. Can you go through the slides again for me? And I love the name, by the way. Like the setup of your project is really good because you've named it. I think that's always like a good sign. The models are fantastic, and I think like you guys are really like performing as true designers, wherein you're shifting between different media to understand the problem and scale that you're dealing with. Were you guys working on this at school or remotely?
We were working with this at school.
Okay.
We like finished the document at school. We all like worked together, and yeah.
That's really, yeah, that's really wonderful. Yeah, so I just wanted to congratulate you for that. It's like a great project.
Thank you so much. Johari, would you like to add some comments as well?
Sure. Congratulations. I really enjoyed this. Excellent knowledge of, I mean, the environment, environmental stewardship. I love the mix of the different media. I see that there's an artist amongst you. Yeah, who drew that?
I did.
Wow. Pratt, here she comes. Anyway, I think this was great. I also liked how you thought about the health components and the health elements, you know, with your project and air pollution. So this was a really, really great project, and I can tell you put a lot into it, and it's very, very, very good. Thank you so much. Wow. Great job.
Yes, thank you, everyone. These designs have been so incredible to see, and your teachers, all of the teachers here are incredible for helping your students put together all these design projects.
I have a thought that I would like to share.
Please.
Yeah, I just love the way that you brought out your research that you've been doing, like using the
Yeah.
data and science both together as tools and then presenting that while you're presenting your design. I think that's really important. Like you explained science behind every concept, which I think is extremely effective when you're presenting a comprehensive project like this. So congratulations.
Yeah.
I think that wraps up all of the projects now. So again, thank you to the teachers and the students for producing such wonderful work and being able to so eloquently present it, because that's a huge part of the design as well, is being able to actually explain the design and explain the drawings that you're working on. And I'm very impressed by the presentation quality. It was, I think, better than many grad school reviews that I've seen or done in my own work. So great job, everyone. Christine, I think you're kind of running the show. So do you want to send us to our jury breakout room?
Yes. So now we're going to send the jury and the moderators into a breakout room. We are running a little bit behind on timing, so we'll try to make the decisions very quickly, and the jury will move back into the main room to make awards. So students, hang tight. I think Mr. Green, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Green for the students. And then I'm going to move the jury and the moderators now into breakout.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Green. I think most of the students here don't really know me, but I will be running this short, Ms. Mizuno, what would you call it? Like little game show moment?
Very abbreviated game show moment, yes.
Yes, so before this, we were going to play charades, and I encourage everybody here to turn on their camera if they want, and parents and, you know, any adult in the room can also play along with us. Ooh, I see some more cameras. I see Milo, Gustavo, I see you. Oh, Miss Shawn, you joined into the mix as well. So I think instead of doing charades, which would have been very fun and very intense and maybe even more intense than the presentations themselves, I think what we're going to do instead is a little bit of a scavenger hunt. I think Ms. Mizuno and I have 3 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think before we get to the scavenger hunt, I want to get some, you know, just how are we feeling, you know? Can we get some reactions here? Some thumbs up, some thumbs down. Hopefully a lot of thumbs up. Yeah, I was commenting in the chat, but see Miss Shawn's also putting some thumbs up. I was blown away by these presentations. I think everybody did a really, really good job. So I just want to say that one more time, just for everybody here. But Ms. Mizuno, let's take it away with our very brief scavenger hunt.
Okay, sounds good. Would you like to start off, or I can?
Yes. Okay. So, for those students that have not played scavenger hunt, so the whole way that this works is we're going to probably give students about 30 seconds. Well, we're going to name a situation. And in this situation, you're going to have to find an object. You shouldn't go too far. You can go anywhere in the house. I wouldn't go out and leave the house unless you think you can do that in 30 seconds, but that'd be very impressive. So anywhere in your house, you can find this object. And we're going to give a scenario. We're going to turn our cameras off, and then we're going to count down and show off all our objects at once. So who has questions on how the scavenger hunt is going to work? So again, 30 seconds, find an object. Angelina, I see that you have a hand up. What's up?
I just have a question. Is it climate change theme or is it just like anything?
Oh, absolutely not. Anything's on the table. Miss Mizuno and I have thought of 3 extremely random situations.
Well, and realistic, don't forget.
Oh, very realistic, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but Angelina, thank you for asking that, because no, it has nothing to do with climate change or anything that we've actually talked about so far today. Okay, so first scenario, let me find it. Yes. So a zombie apocalypse has just occurred in Brooklyn and also in Manhattan, if you happen to be in Manhattan as well.
Or any of the 5 boroughs.
Or any of the 5 boroughs. Let's
or
not
New
forget
Jersey.
all 5 of them. Yes, you're right.
Yep.
But mainly in Brooklyn. It's the worst in Brooklyn. And you have to leave the home really fast. You can only find one item. You can only bring one item with you. What would it be? So please show it on your screen in 30 seconds. I'm going to turn my camera off.
Me too.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Oh, I should be keeping time. I'm keeping time.
Okay, I got my item.
I'm looking for mine.
I think my item is definitely going to serve me well during the apocalypse.
I don't know about mine, but it will serve me well emotionally.
Miss Mizuno, how are we doing on time here?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay.
Ooh,
wait.
okay. Whoa,
Yes!
a cat companion?
Yeah, Clarence. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Isabella,
so
is that cat something you're gonna eat as a meal? Is that gonna be like a backup meal during the apocalypse? No?
He's my companion.
I don't know how many zombie movies you've watched, Isabella, but
the cat will provide socio-emotional support.
So who wants to explain their item? Who wants to explain their item?
Angelina, please explain and show us your item.
Okay, so my item's a knife.
Oh.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. This is the only thing I got.
That makes, oh my Lord. That's a sword. That's not a knife.
The reason why I picked it is like only one item and you need to defend yourself.
Are you legally allowed to carry a sword in your home?
If there's a zombie apocalypse, yes. No, in my house, no. I just found this.
You just stumbled upon a sword.
Yeah, I went to my kitchen.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is my item.
I love it. Milo's got a bat. I love it.
Yeah, apparently I have this like silly survival book that has an example of that. And it says that they can't, like, zombies, since they're already dead, like, the best thing to do is bludgeoning. So I got my
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
No, I didn't realize you were doing your research here. You came prepared. Okay.
I never thought I'd need to use that information.
William is gonna just go to sleep apparently when a zombie comes. Okay, wonderful. So now we have our second realistic scenario. Okay. Now imagine not imagine, this could happen. If you became a fairy one day, so a fairy about 2 inches tall, what household item would you live in? Okay, 30 seconds on the clock. What household item would you live in if you were to become a fairy tomorrow? Go. 30 seconds on the clock. Hopefully, okay. Ten seconds left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Turn on your cameras. Oh my gosh, Miss Shawn, we have the same idea. Okay, who would like to explain their item? No one?
I would just like, I don't need to explain mine, but I just want to say I'm embarrassed that everybody's plant seems to be less dead than mine.
You know, Miss Shawn actually gave me this basil. Yeah, Angelina, go for it. Explain. Oh, or Miss Shawn.
No, I was
Miss
just
Shawn, go first.
how big it is. I can't believe how big the basil is.
Oh, I know. So Miss Shawn gave it to me as like this tall, and now look, it's amazing. I just potted it a few days ago. Angelina, please explain your item.
Okay, I picked cars. Okay, so I have 2 different types of cars. Because
wow.
you know, fairies are made for children. Sorry for the ringing. My mom's phone. Mom, can you shut your phone? That doesn't help. Sorry, give me a second.
Yeah, no worries. If one person turns off the audio, just silences it. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I decided a car, and this one's like an openable card. So like you can, because fairies are like for children, it's like a children's fantasy. I would say.
It could happen. Yeah.
I was saying like, okay, because like kids will be like, oh, it's so cute, I'm gonna keep it. Like for example, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. Instead of adults where it's like Captain Hook trying to kill Tinkerbell and Peter Pan.
I love it. I love it.
So
if I were
brutal.
you, that'd be excellent. Okay, Mr. Green, would you like to take the last one?
Yes, this one's going to be our last one, and I think it's very appropriate to be the one before we go into, the final discussions. And I hope that people, keep this item or these items with them during, the results, So the final, let's see, what is the final? Yes. So the final situation is you are a spy and you can bring as many items as you want, but you need to put on your best spy disguise. Hats, glasses, whatever you can do to get into your best spy disguise in 30 seconds.
Starting now. Three, 2, 1. Camera's on. Sorry, I didn't give enough. Okay. Lynn, we had the same idea of just wearing masks. Okay, nice, Milo. Wow.
Milo, the top hat. Nice. Look.
Oh my God, that is an amazing ring. Wow.
Angelina, is that a cowboy hat? Is that a cowboy getup?
William, again, going back to sleep. Michael, I'm learning so much about who you are right now. Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. And honestly, I like the look of wearing my mask on my head like this. Mr. Green, should we keep our disguises on as we go into the final results?
Absolutely. I think I think anybody who doesn't keep the disguise on might automatically be disqualified, but you know, I don't make the rules here. That's just a guess.
All right, Christine, are we ready?
I've just asked the jury how much more time. I think they might need another minute or two. So
Oh, we have
maybe
another
we
one
just.
then. No,
You
we
have one more?
we have
All
We
right.
have one more. Miss Mizuno, would you like to introduce this one?
Yes. Okay. So now you were selected to a cooking show. And on that cooking show, you have to choose one extremely random ingredient that is edible. Now, what would that be? See if you can find it. One extremely random ingredient to cook with on the cooking show. 30 seconds, go.
Technically, anything is edible.
Except for like poisonous things. Or
Very
like
true.
plastic. Okay, hold on. Okay, timer's going. Wow, I stepped on my cat. Okay, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I really struggled with this. Ready Whip. Yeah, a lemon. What is that? Popcorn? Is that organic popcorn? Okay, what do we have, Angelina? Is that a mango? Oh, Miss Shawn, I want to know what that is.
We're like matching in every category in the sense that like you have, is that for Kaki?
Yes.
I have gochujang. It's like a spicy
Ah.
paste that has become popular, very popular, like outside of Korean restaurants. Like a lot of people, like Brooklyn chefs integrating this. It's spicy, sweet.
I love it. I love it. Does anyone want to share their special ingredient that's hopefully edible?
I chose cinnamon. 1 second. There's a reason I have my camera off. Just 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. I've definitely never tasted or heard of cinnamon, so.
Okay.
Milo, are you gonna explain?
Yes. I just one of the first things that I came up with.
Okay.
It's an ingredient I really like to use. So
Okay.
yeah, that's something that I really like.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Wait, that should have been your spy disguise.
I know, I didn't think of it.
I don't think that's a disguise. I feel like that's like the opposite of a disguise, whatever that word is.
A non-disguise. Okay, Christine, are we good? If not, we can keep going.
I think we're good. I think let's just hang tight here and the jury's gonna roll back into the main room.
Okay,
But
great.
that was an awesome game. Thank you, Mr. Green and Miss Mizuno and everyone. That was fun. Sorry, I don't have good like waiting music ready.
Milo, I'd like to know, can you order one of those on Amazon or where did you
I don't
get
know. I got this as a Halloween costume. I have a full gorilla suit, but right now I'm just wearing the mask.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I got this as we got this as a Halloween. My sister is being Jane Goodall, so I was being a gorilla. So I don't really know where it came from, but I have it here. So that's cool.
I wonder if it's a CDC approved face covering.
1 second.
Oh, well, now it is. I love that.
This is a question for the teachers of Milo. Does Milo ever come to class with the mask on, or is this the first time you've seen it?
Maybe did we see it at Halloween, Milo?
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly if we did a remote like virtual Halloween party. That he might. Milo typically, shows up in his own sort of character. Yeah, not typically in the mask.
Excellent.
But kudos, he is always on camera, I have to say, and that's been a joy all year.
Well, Milo, I feel like you should dedicate yourself to wearing that for the rest of the school year and into next year if we ever go remote.
Yeah, that seems like a last day of school outfit to me. I don't know.
Not an everyday outfit?
Probably not.
Not the most comfortable, but
I love it. It's like those gamers where you don't ever like know what they look like. That could be you, Milo.
Oh, the DJ, there's a DJ, the mouse. The famous DJ that wears the mouse head.
Yeah, dead mouse.
Dead mouse, there you go.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like dead mouse might like perfectly have missed like everybody in this room, because I feel like he's like a little bit like too new for my generation and then like a little bit too old for like this generation, I feel like he kind of like perfectly like slipped by everybody. But I've definitely heard of him.
Milo is rock and roll. He did a benefit in the park on Fifth Avenue on Saturday. There was a huge benefit concert of teenage rock and roll bands.
Whoa.
For kids rock, right, Milo?
That's awesome. What instruments do you play?
drums. But I play a little bit of bass and a little bit of guitar and stuff.
Wow. Can you drop a link? A SoundCloud link?
Yeah, here, 1 second. I'll just link the website of what organization. They probably have some videos in the chat. Let's see.
This group is amazing at killing time. Such suspense. I'm getting messages from the jury. They are coming back now.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what the results are, honestly.
And also if they see a gorilla wearing a top hat and a mask.
Yes, I'm gonna put on my mask.
I think they'll wonder why everybody's in costume.
Oh, wow. What's going on?
Transformations.
We all have our spy disguises on.
So, jury, while you were out, a lot happened over here. That may seem confusing to you if you're just popping in, but enjoy all the disguises. And Ruth or Fred, do you want to kick us off, or who's kicking off the awards?
Yeah, I think I'm going to. And then I just welcome back everybody. We had a good discussion in there. And I don't know, I think Jordan is probably gonna assign the order here of the slides. I don't know, do we have an order? I guess so, maybe.
I think I'm just gonna start screen sharing the awards, and whoever is the jury member who is speaking to the award, they can just jump in.
Okay, I think, yeah, that's the way to go.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Woo!
Hey, so saving the planet one drop at a time. Congratulations for this very, very thoughtful project. You guys really made us feel the gravity of the current issue that we're dealing with, and I love the energy and the, you know, showing us possibilities on what small interventions in the city can do. Imagine if all of us did something like this in our communities, what kind of impact that'll have as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Elisa, Tiki, Isabella, and William are our winners of Best Design Process. Congratulations, you did a great job. We saw all the hard work you put into this presentation, and we actually learned quite a bit because of all the research and the data that went into your kudos and congratulations on Best Design Process.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Laila, Sohana, Lily, and Jasmine, for Best in Social Impact. Your approach in looping environmental issues with the social impact of solving food, you know, insecurity through this project is amazing. Thank you so much.
Jingshu, we present poetic placemaking to you. Your project was so considerate in the way of the textures and the relationships of the spaces you made. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And to Milo, we're going to give you most equitable. It was great to see how you really tried to make everybody happy with your design, incorporating as many elements as possible and really considering your community and who you're designing for and not just what you thought was best. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the most transformative design goes to Laila. We really loved the way that you actually transformed the entire courtyard into this fun and interesting place that everyone wants to be. All the elements were used appropriately and really activated the courtyard into this unique place. So congratulations.
All right, a round of applause. That was so amazing. Thank you, jury. Thank you, students.
Thank you. This was so inspiring.
We're so proud of everyone. So hard to do applause in Zoom, but yeah, I think everyone was so impressed. We just want to do one final thank you. Jordan, would you mind popping up the thank you slide so we can acknowledge everyone? So we want to thank our teachers and our students at our partner schools. Amazing work, and volunteers that came to visit some of our students in the classrooms and show off their design projects and inspire students. Our jury panel, such thoughtful commentary. Thank you for being in this space and listening so closely to the students' presentations and offering your feedback and your expert insights. We really appreciate your time. Shout out to the GCC project team, Christine, Jordan, Nell, Niati, who are on the back end, making everything run smoothly. Fred and Ruth for being our amazing moderators. And the funders that made this project possible, Con Edison and New York State DEC and their environmental justice grant programs. We want to thank you so much for supporting this work and continuing to support this work. So let's go back to the Zoom screen and can we do one final Zoom photo? I think, Jordan, would you mind taking a couple photos? So you still have on your costumes? Great. And students, if you could come on, turn off your camera or turn on your camera. And Jordan, can you just tell us like 1, 2, 3, or when you're taking the photos?
Definitely.
Your
Okay,
best Zoom
so
photo?
I'm going to take a few, so I'll just count to 3. So everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right, and I'm gonna get one more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you everyone. We hope this is one of our last ever Zoom events and we can be in person next year and celebrate together. Thank you for joining us and have an amazing summer. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Take care.
everybody,
Summer.
for all of your hard work.